All right, let's get into some eye-popping news. Germany, yes, that Germany, has imploded. This isn't some wild rumor. It's an economic freefall that nobody saw coming. Or did they? Remember Peter? He used to work for a top automotive giant. Now he's jobless. Why? The industry crumbled. But that's just one part of a massive domino effect. But hey, will the US follow suit? We're not immune, folks. It's like watching a slow-motion train wreck where we know what's coming. So buckle up, it's going to be a wild ride. Now, to really grasp what happened in Germany, we need to dive into the nitty-gritty details. Germany's economy, once solid as a rock, is now teetering on the brink. And why? Energy policies deregulated, global trade tensions skyrocketed, and let's not forget the mismanagement ticking time bomb. Banks, overloaded with debt, are caught in a volatile whirlwind. One office worker I chatted with, let's call him Lars, told me about how fragile their situation feels. Meanwhile, across the Atlantic, America is not immune. Some say we're seeing similar cracks. Others claim it's a mere winter chill. But look closely. Spending is through the roof. Jobs are steady, yet savings are dwindling. And political antics? They certainly don't help. So is America next on the chopping block? Only time will tell. Stay with us. Let's dive deep to understand what led to Germany's economic implosion, shall we? Now you might think Germany's economy was rock solid, but global energy dependencies shook it to its core. They relied heavily on Russian gas, didn't they? But when geopolitical tensions crept in, it was like cutting their energy lifeline. Now consider this. Local businesses struggled to keep up with rising costs. Even Eva, a seasoned factory worker, faced potential job loss. So what stops history from repeating itself in the US? The eerie similarities should alarm us. But does anyone really listen? Germany's economic woes have unfolded, but what does it really mean? Let's dig deeper to uncover the real issues at play. Germany relied heavily on manufacturing and export, but global supply chains came crashing down, and its economy, like the rest of Europe, trembled. Clever Hans, a typical Berlin factory owner, watched as orders plummeted. So, isn't it only a matter of time before the US faces a similar fate? Think about this. We're seeing shifts in power dynamics affecting everyone. The US economy isn't impervious, with all the interdependencies it faces too. So, what happens when a big player like Germany stumbles? Is the US next in line? Germany's economy imploded in such a dramatic fashion, everyone is wondering, could the US be heading for the same fate? Let's dive deeper into this enigma and see if the signs are just hiding in plain sight. Now listen, Germany's situation is a cocktail of problems, and don't you find it strangely coincidental that some of these are brewing here in the US too? Let's take just one, energy dependency. In Germany, over-reliance on imports has been a risky game. Similarly, in the US, meet Sarah, a small-town mayor, watching factories struggle to keep the lights on. But are we ready to face this? It's not just about energy. Unemployment is sneaking up, wages are stagnating, inflation is relentless. It's a complex mix, and we've just started. All right, let's pull back the curtain on what's really happening inside Germany's economy, and it's not pretty. Germany is a supposed powerhouse of Europe, suffering from economic woes that are nothing short of catastrophic. The cracks are starting to show, and they're widening. It's like watching a slow-motion car crash. But how did it come to this? We were fed stories of success and growth, yet here we are. One word, overconfidence. Germany built itself up to be the strong man of Europe, but forgot the foundation. Now, imagine this guy Herr Schmidt, a factory owner who employs hundreds, watching his livelihood fall apart. The dominoes started falling because of energy crises, rampant inflation, and supply chain disasters. So is the US watching closely? You'd hope so, because this should be a wake-up call. Relying on shaky systems and overconfident narratives could lead us down the same path. The lessons are there if we're willing to look. So here we are, looking at Germany, a once mighty economic powerhouse, facing an unprecedented crisis. You might wonder, how could this even happen? Strong institutions, a robust workforce, and a tradition of innovation, weren't they enough to shield them? But here's the kicker. They seriously underestimated a new global dynamic. Did Germany become vulnerable because it bet too much on globalization? Think about Greta, a German entrepreneur who is now grappling with endless red tape and changing markets. If this is happening in Germany, what about the US? The similarities are uncanny. Global dependencies, financial instabilities, and political unpredictability. Can the US avoid walking straight into the same trap? It's a tough road ahead and many questions without clear answers. But we have to ask, will the lessons from Germany be heeded? Or will history repeat itself with another major economy faltering? As the tension builds, we can only predict that ignoring these signs could lead us down a perilous path. All right, let's dive a little deeper into this whole situation with Germany, shall we? I mean, who would have thought? The German economy was once heralded as the powerhouse of Europe, yet here we are, watching it crumble. So what's going on? Well, let me break it down for you. Germany's manufacturing sector, which is its bread and butter, is in steep decline. And you know what? This isn't just a blip. Their reliance on exports, especially to China, has become a vulnerability. Take Sven, for example, a factory worker who suddenly found himself jobless as orders supposedly dried up. And let's not ignore the energy crisis with costs rocketing, leaving businesses in the lurch. Doesn't it make you think? If Germany can go down so dramatically, how secure is the US really? Let's dive into Germany's economic turmoil and its inevitable impact on the US financial landscape. Germany has long been the powerhouse of Europe due to its robust manufacturing and innovative industries. But cracks are now becoming gaping chasms. How did a seemingly unshakable economy unravel? One might point to energy crises and inflation, saying they're the culprits. But is it really just that simple? A closer look reveals a deeper systemic malaise, a failure to adapt to rapidly changing global economic dynamics. Meet Hans, a small-time auto parts supplier in Bremen. His orders have plummeted, and his business resembles a ghost of its former self. Is the US geared up to face similar challenges? With our interconnected economies, one's downfall could easily and swiftly affect another. Isn't it time to really brace for impact? Or will we too stumble upon the same path? Now, when you look at Germany, a country that's long been the backbone of Europe, you start to wonder, what goes up must eventually come crashing down. Germany's current predicament, with its economic engine sputtering, is more than just an isolated downturn. It's a signal, a warning shot, if you will, and it's essential for us to decipher this message before we're staring down the same barrel here in the US. Take, for example, Germany's green energy experiment. They embraced renewables, and yet found themselves, ironically, facing higher prices. Wouldn't we expect renewables to be cheaper? And yet, the transition costs disrupted traditional industries. It's that fine line between progress and regression. So, as the US considers following suit, shouldn't we ask, are we ready for the cost? So Germany's economy has hit a snag, and it's not a small one. Industries are scrambling and people are unsettled. But why is this happening? Think energy crisis, think geopolitics, think inefficiencies. Now you might wonder, could the US be next? Look at the parallels, from energy strategies to global dependencies. Just like Hans, an engineer who lost his job because his factory closed, many in the US could face the same. Our infrastructure and financial models are eerily similar. We have our own set of challenges, an unstable economy and a fickle energy market. But what if we drew lessons before it's too late? Germany's struggle serves as a warning, not just a far-off worry. Could we change course? Will we pivot wisely or repeat the mistakes? The ball's in our court. So here we are, at the end of this crazy journey, looking back at Germany's implosion and wondering, could the US be close behind? We talked about policy blunders, economic missteps, and societal shifts that led Germany to its breaking point. And here's where it gets even more interesting, because the US seems to be heading down a similar path. We saw cracks in their financial systems, political polarization, and social unrest echoing eerily in the American scene. So what do? Well, it's not about panic, but rather understanding the patterns and preparing. Imagine that, a future where we don't just react, but anticipate. And that leaves us with this haunting question: can we really see the writing on the wall before it's too late?